All right, how's everybody doing today? You've got James Hayden, yours truly, podcaster. I always go to say radio personality, but I'm not a radio personality yet. Nonetheless, today we are brought to you by the Civis Gravis Society. Today is May 30th, 2021, Sunday. Tomorrow is Memorial Day weekend, so you know that today, more than any other day or episode, I say thank you to all of our military personnel, both dead and alive. I thank the men all the way back, the men and women all the way back to the Revolutionary War, to the Civil War, to World War I, to World War II, to the War of 1812, to all the men that died at the Alamo. I say thank you. Though we're barely holding by a thread, we're still living in a country with freedom of speech and a semi-right to defend ourselves. Of course, we're put on by the Civis Gravis Society, civisgravis.org. This is Crusader Talk, radio and podcast, creatortalk.com. And let's see if we can open some eyes today. Today is a day I'm going to tackle a very controversial topic. It's not really controversial. To me, it's actually a joke. But we're going to get into the topic of transgender. Not the actual transformation or what is seen as a transformation from a man to a woman or a woman to a man. I'm not even going to get into that. The ethics and morality of the surgeries and the chemical-induced changes and what Mother Nature or God, depending on what you believe, has done for you. I'm not even going to touch on that. What I'm going to get into is Demi Lovato made the news big time. She's now non-binary. Non-binary. Well, what does that mean? Well, what it's supposed to mean to the LBGT, ABCDEFG, elemental P crowd is that if you're non-binary, then you don't have the laws of binary mathematics apply to you. So you can be a boy if you're a girl, you can be a girl if you're a boy, you can be a girl boy, a boy girl. There's some problems with that. First off, let's start this out. So, you're non-binary. Not. All cells, all DNA proteins, all atomic structure, all life, all non-life, all matter that exists in this reality, this dimension, this plane of existence, however you want to see it, is created and built on by binary encoding. The human being, when it starts out, is running on binary encoding. You've got two cells. You've got the genes of the mother and you've got the genes of the father communicating with each other to build a human being. And do you know what they communicate to each other with? Do you know how they build that cellular group piece by piece by piece? By binary mathematics. The term binary or binary mathematics, for me, I learned about in 1981 when I suddenly became obsessed with computer programming. To write the fastest video games possible, you need to use machine language. And the reason machine language runs so fast is it is the most simplistic and basic way of making instructions in which the processor can compute it to its fullest efficiency. And it's comprised of zeros and ones. Each space, to make a picture, to make a sound, to make a letter, to render a graphic or anything, is based on binary mathematics. It's either on or it's off. So each space in that binary code or that binary number has a purpose. And the purpose can be decided between a 0 or a 1. Now, when you get looking at this, and then you look at physics, you look at chemistry, and you look at biology, all things reproduce and repair itself, meaning healing, is done with binary encoding within your DNA, within your cells, within your atomic structure, within your protons, your neutrons, your electrons. You break down the atomic structure into smaller pieces, into quarks, and, boy, getting outside of my education level, It's all based on binary mathematics. If you are non-binary, you do not exist in this reality, this dimension, or this plane of existence. Again, however you want to see it or call it. It is absolutely flabbergasting to me that Demi Lovato has stood up and said, I don't exist. Everybody out there that stands up and says, I'm non-binary, you don't fucking exist. Because without binary mathematics, without binary being the law of the universe, you don't exist at all. Which means you don't get to choose to be a boy or a girl. You don't get to force other people to pretend. That's the other side of the coin that I'm going to discuss. Again, I'm not getting into the surgeries and what they do, or the morality of what the individual is doing to themselves, but what they're doing to all of us. When you come up to me and tell me how I'm a bigoted hater because I don't recognize your new gender, because I'm binary, you're telling me that in order for me to exist and not become canceled by cancel culture and to be a good citizen, I have to pretend that you can change from a boy to a girl or a girl to a boy. No way, Jose. Now, when we get down into the mathematics, when we get looking at binary language as itself and how it applies to the human body, to biology, you absolutely cannot change your gender, period. So for all you idiots out there who want to argue with me, you cannot. Because of binary encoding, because of the language of mathematics and how it works, because of how DNA builds a collective of cells into a being, you cannot be non-binary because you are totally comprised and built by the firmware of your DNA, which speaks in a binary language. You have your X chromosome and your Y chromosome. In mathematics, you have your 0 and you have your 1. And you can build almost anything off of this mathematics. All things that exist because they are binary. So can I get you Fruit Loops, social justice warriors, Decepticons, and your LGBT, elemental P jackasses to shut your mouth? It is absolutely indignant and rude on your part to try and force other people to pretend that reality does not exist, that mathematics does not exist, that the laws of your very physiology do not exist. Because in denying that you exist in that manner, I would have to deny that I exist in that manner. And I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to give up on reality. I have what's called an indomitable spirit. When I know something, I know it, and I'm not going to change my course. I'm not going to turn my head. I'm not going to close my eyes. I am so sick of this twisted self-help 12-step love your... Oh, God, I'm so upset I can't even think. I pulled another Biden. Love your therapist generation, your self-help 12-step LGBT elemental P therapist loving generation. You're a bunch of Decepticons trying to get me to lie to myself. I'm sorry, you're not that smart and you don't have that much influence. It's ridiculous. Now again, I want to say, I'm going back to the intro, because my vice president couldn't bear to appreciate the soldiers and the freedom. My vice president gets to be a communist because good Republicans who believe in freedom actually protect her right to be what I call politically suicidal. You elect communism as your main form of government, you people are going to be sorry. Look at all the communisms out there and what they are. You've got Cuba, you've got China, you've got North Korea. Burma was a republic for like half a year, and they're back to being communist. And again, they're back to being unhappy. Look at Venezuela. I know there's a few other South American, Central American countries. It is ridiculous. Because let's reduce it down to the binary mathematics. Communism has never worked. And it's only here to subjugate you into being a slave. A slave for men who think they know better for you. And women, men and women that think they know better for you in your life. Remember this, the only thing that makes you free is the right to make your own estimated risks. And in America, that list has dwindled. It is sickening. I had a recent incident with some hippie neighbors and their political idealism, which is communism. What's funny is they purport that they believe in freedom of choice. Well, you're choosing to enslave yourself, stupid. The Neo-Prague Decepticons in this day and age, in this era, have done well. They have really ruined our children. And that's the other thing. Why does our country suck? Why do we have a moron? I mean, a moron. He is an oxymoronic fool sitting in the throne of president. We have him sitting at the president's office. My man can't relate a story about a dog and a ball, let alone try to negotiate the atomic fears of an entire globe, let alone try and interpret, disseminate, and plan around great evils like Iran, who he seems to love, like China, who he seems to love. Oh, and did you see? Ben Shapiro reported that they've found a connection where Joe Biden was in a meeting discussing how Hunter was going to get paid under the table by China and the Ukraine. I'm hoping more of that will come to light. But Joe Biden, he don't run the government like a president. He runs it like a mob boss. You Decepticons, meaning you liberals, you Democrats, you crafty lefty fools, you have destroyed our country. This guy is making us crumble on purpose. Where do you think he's going to get this $6 trillion? He's going to get this $6 trillion from China. And then you know what happens? Because here's how it's worked since the beginning of time. The lender is the master and the borrower is the slave, especially somebody who runs the country through Casa Nostra. Boy, I'm from New York and I said that wrong. Casa Nostra fundamentals. He's running it like a gang, a pack of gangsters. And what's funny is he hides behind this facade of a weak, foolish old man. And Americans voted for him because they felt that that was less destructive than an upright man who stands for freedom, like former President Donald J. Trump. I wasn't going to go on a diatribe, but you know what? The whole crap of Kamala on Friday, just neglecting our soldiers and the people who pay the price for our freedom. What do we got for time here? Oh, man, we're at 13 minutes and 28 seconds already. Well, my friends, that's my 10 cents. What I am going to leave you with here the last couple minutes are the words of a man that I call a great man, not because of his physique and his physical power, but he was quite an ingenious philosopher underneath it all. Sadly, I didn't realize it until after he died. He was a hero of mine as a child. Here's what the Ultimate Warrior has to say. And what he says is for all the people out there who are doubting, who are becoming overwhelmed by the Decepticon, Neo-Prague, liberal idealism, for all the people who are thinking that they should give up and just let it go because of cancel culture, because of children. I mean, how many more children? Here, a moment of silence for Cash Gurnon. Another child killed by a black man wrapped up in the politics of the United States, thinking that he is creating justice for his dead ancestors from 1865 during slavery. Who is teaching these idiots? Who are the idiots that are creating idiots? Oh, in our next episode, I have a feeling is going to be on this critical race theory. What I call it is critical race theory syndrome because it doesn't really exist. Somebody took Mein Kampf from Hitler and just applied black people to being the superior race.